Welcome back. Today in our Spotlight video, we'll be taking a look at how bad booking has all but killed the career of Ivy Nile.
Spotlight.
Emily Angelou's, aka Ivy Nile, debuted in 2020. After being offered a tryout as early as 2019 in WWE, she trained with Tom Pritchard and Glenn Jacobs down in Knoxville, Tennessee. This woman is a pure athlete. I mean, there's nothing more to be said than just pure athleticism. And I know people, well, she's not good on the microphone. When has she really had an opportunity to cut a promo? I mean, it's been how long since she's actually cut a promo, really? An actual promo, all right? And WWE has a habit of punishing girls that look like her, that are athletes. And they've done it like all the way back. Terry Potch, Tori from DX. Remember her? Yeah, well, she started wrestling in LPWA and in Japan, and she comes to WWE, and it's like, oh, you've got to be cannon fodder for this blonde with big fake tits because Vince McMahon, it gets him hard. So you have to job to her, you know. Chyna was the only one that really never had to fall victim to losing to the little girl. You know, Beth Phoenix had to job out to Candice Michelle. Victoria had to job to countless just pathetic bimbos. You look in other companies, it's the same. I'm just using WWE as an example. Recently, Chris Statlander being physically dominated by a 100-pound Mercedes Moné, not once but twice. It's an epidemic, and it speaks to the state of the people running wrestling, all right? Triple H, I don't understand what his deal is with this. Ivy Nile is a blue-chip athlete. Ivy Nile is talented in every area, sans promos in the wrestling game, man. Trust me. As somebody who is a promo specialist, you know, she could use some work, but it's something that's teachable. I've heard people say she doesn't have any charisma, she doesn't have this, she doesn't have that. The people saying she doesn't have charisma or talent are probably fat neckbeards. And this, you know, this woman is an athlete, you know. She's very, very, very good in the ring. And we're going to talk about her match with somebody who is on the absolute opposite end of the spectrum as her. But for some reason, and I don't know what it is. Like I said, I've never understood Damage Control. I think it is the worst stable, slightly better than the Pure Fusion Collective. Only because Damage Control, I don't know. They had something. The Pure Fusion Collective was just abject garbage from the start. I felt bad for Zoe Stark for having been associated with that nonsense. So let's take a look at the match from Raw last night. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this because, you know, this is the burial of Ivy Nile. And she is now, since being called up to the main roster, and this includes mixed tag matches, pay-per-views, and dark shows, 7 wins, 36 losses, and 1 no contest finish, which was against Maxine Dupree. The match got thrown out. I believe the Wyatts got involved in that. Now, I'm not counting wins and losses in terms of, oh man, I can't believe she's lost that many matches. I'm looking at wins and losses in terms of there's been 36 times when they said that the other woman is a more viable option in terms of story, progression, or whatever than Ivy is, which I find very hard to believe given some of the names like Kiana James and Zia Lee, and again, Maxine Dupree, who really doesn't wrestle that often. It's just, Dakota Kai has come up multiple times, you know, is beating Ivy throughout her career since she made her, you know, debut in 2020. I mean, she even lost to Ava, The Rock's daughter. I mean, come on. So let's get this thing started. Here comes the uninteresting opponent, who of course gets an entrance, Dakota Kai. I don't know why people like this girl, but you look at Ivy, just the look on her face is, I have to look at the lights for this thing. Seriously? And I know some of you are thinking, well, she probably wasn't thinking that. Well, if you've ever been in that situation, which none of you probably have, you probably know, yeah, she knows she's got to do the job. But Chad Gable came running down. He was going to help out. He was with the American-made faction at ringside during this match for a time being. So right off the bat, Ivy is distracted by this, which Dakota Kai comes running in, and they go right into the fucking shine on this, which is absolutely hilarious. Referee Jessica Carr separating them. But Ivy, of course, reverses that attempted swinging takedown, which leads, of course, right into, if you know about the structure of a match, into the heat in the form of a cutoff, which Ivy's selling the shots to the jaw there before we get down and dirty, and she starts some ground and pound as we kick into the heat part of the match. Ivy kicks into gear with the ground and pound, as I said before, and people saying she has no charisma, she doesn't know what to do. She's playing to the crowd right now, healing it up. American-made, Gable and the Creeds were outside on the ring doing the same thing. This leads into the start of a really nice sequence, which we're going to see an Irish whip into the corner. Kai takes the front not bump, but takes the front plant into the corner. Boom, backs up. Now this is a beautiful, beautiful release German. Grabs the waist, pop the hips, bang, folds her in half. Kai took that safely, absolutely perfect. Let's look at that again. Again, here we go, waist lock, pop the hips, Kai goes, bang, release, lands safely over the shoulder. This leads in to, of course, a falsie. Referee Jessica Carr, 1, 2, no, much to the dismay of Ivy Nile. And again, after Dakota delivered some early, just inconsequential, boring offense, here's Ivy Nile showing off the power as well as the finesse with this beautifully delivered release German suplex. And this is what she brings to the table as opposed to the stick figure that she's working against here on Raw. Ivy, another great heel tactic here. She hit the big move. Now she's sitting here, letting it breathe after the falsie, giving the crowd a chance to register. Of course, it gives your opponent a chance to recover, too, after taking the move, give you a chance to catch your win. But more or less, you're selling to the crowd here, look what I just did to your hero, and they're eating it up. This spot basically spells the beginning of the end. Ivy hauls Dakota's sorry carcass up, right? She's going to set her up for a suplex. Here comes a very ridiculous sequence now. Gets her up for the suplex. Kai reverses, rolls her up. 1, 2, kick out. But let's look at the shoulder. Ivy Nile's shoulder isn't down. Referee Jessica Carr, woefully out of position to even see it, but does the right thing, continues to count. This just happened to me in a match. I did the Randy Orton, though. My shoulder wasn't down. The referee went 1, 2, stopped, hesitated, then hit 3, which I was supposed to get eliminated, but it's not a good optic, especially when the referee, but in that case, her being out of position actually helped. So if I showed this picture to a non-wrestling fan, they probably wouldn't know what the problem is here. But the problem is referee Jessica Carr. This is off the attempted pin. Why is Dakota Kai running to the corner? Why is referee Jessica Carr, again, woefully out of position? Ivy Nile, the heel here, knows, okay, we've got a spot coming up. Dakota's got to make it to the corner. But her running into the corner, which I'll show you in real time, absolutely makes no sense and just speaks to how bad Dakota Kai is in the ring. She has no idea what she's doing. There's no reason for her to run and smack into the turnbuckle at this point. It makes no sense. I've got to harp on this just one more time because it looks so bad in the terms of it being a match that's on WWE's flagship program. What momentum propelled Dakota Kai into the corner? Like, there's nothing. She gets up from attempting a pin on Ivy, and here we go, just right into the buckle. Just bumps in the car and bang, she's in the buckle. What sense does that make? So after throwing Dakota into the buckle, or should I say Dakota throwing herself into the buckle for no reason, Ivy's job as a heel is to come charging in blindly and get ready to eat this back elbow, which she does, and this is where the wheels fall off the bus and the dirt starts flowing into the grave of Ivy Nile. Because it's time for the comeback, folks. Yes, that's where the heel, if you don't know, if you're new here, that's where the heel gets ready to take all the shine as the babyface attempts to come back from the tactics of the dastardly heel, and Dakota's comeback, just like her, is nothing but vanilla. I mean, let's just stop and look at this. Look at these two in a side-by-side. Dakota Kai looks like your divorced aunt with 30 cats and a refrigerator full of coffee creamer and Chinese takeaway. And Ivy Nile is that chick you see at the gym every single day, day in and day out. And I mean, just like it or not, in a physical confrontation in this context, there's no way I am ever buying Dakota Kai, ever, at all, ever. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, muscles don't win. Well, this is not a real sport, I know. But in context of this, even movesets, it's not even close. Dakota Kai has literally nothing. Her moveset is garbage. Her fake curb stomp, her frickin' finisher, which we'll get to as soon as I'm done with this rant. But, I mean, injury-prone Dakota Kai versus a real athlete. This is just horrible booking, and I don't know why they hate women who are actually real athletes. It makes no sense whatsoever. And nobody really likes damage. The only people that are fans of damage control are fucking weebs. Let's face it. Neckbeard weebs are the only people that are fans of damage control. And Dakota Kai here, let's go. She's got Ivy positioned in the corner. Of course, Ivy is absolutely helpless from that powerhouse offense from the wine aunt. Oh no, here comes Dakota's devastating corner kick. Oh god, I feel bad for Ivy for having to sell that shitty kick. Speaking of shitty kicks, get ready for another stupid spot by Dakota Kai as she, of course, puts Ivy Nile through the ropes, goes for her ridiculous stomp, but misses and, of course, kicks Ivy in the head, dropping her. It's at this point Aunt Dakota was like, hey, kids, do you want to see me fly? And all the kids were like,
No, bitch, you drank like 2 boxes of wine. You're drunk. Sit down.
And she's like, no, my cats love it when I do this. And she's like, okay. And she stands up on the Davenport and gets ready to do her big running dive. But the box wine and Valium hits, and then she runs right at Dad's like,
no, bitch, what are you doing? Sit down. Look, I've been married to your sister for like 20 years. I've been dealing with this every freaking Christmas. You get drunk and you stand on the couch. Look, Aunt Dakota, just sit down. Jesus, what the hell is wrong with you?
And she doesn't get to do her fucking couch dive. She's blocked. And while Aunt Dakota's distracted, Ivy comes up from behind her, and this is a absolutely gorgeous move. It's kind of like a swinging rock bottom from a body slam, puts Aunt Dakota down. But again, Ivy can only get a 2 count on powerhouse wine Aunt Dakota Kai. And she's wondering, what do I have to do to keep this noodle arm broad down to the mat? What do I have to do? Look at this. I could snap her in half with one arm, but yet I've basically ran her over the truck, but she's unstoppable like a Terminator. And then a couple of No, I'm just kidding. It's the LWO. Oh, boy. So in a brilliant piece of booking, they have Ivy sit and wait in the middle of the ring, literally 6 feet away from Dakota Kai, while the LWO beat up the Creeds, chase Chad Gable, and then she stands in the corner for 7 seconds. Doesn't ever bother to turn around and look for Dakota Kai. Doesn't do anything except eat the kick, and then this next segment is our finish. Dakota looks like she can barely get Ivy on her shoulders, even with Ivy posting for her. And if that's not bad, watch the delivery of her finisher in slow-mo. So Dakota gets her up. Watch the kick. It's supposed to go to the head. Wait, did you see where it hit her? Look at the arrows, folks. She kicked her in basically her ribs instead of to the head. And you could say that's Ivy's fault, but Dakota didn't get her leg around at all. Look at the arrows. Horrible finisher. She's not strong enough to do the finisher physically, even with the opponent, helping and posting for her. So here it is. 1, 2, 3. Dakota Kai goes on to face Lyra Valkyria for a mid-card title. Yay. R.I.P. Ivy Nile's career. I feel bad because Ivy deserves better for all her accolades as an athlete. This is what she loses to. This right here. And Ivy's just forced to sell her head in bewilderment, even though it didn't come anywhere near her head, as Wine Aunt Dakota celebrates, and Ivy is just left with, what the hell do I do with my career now? Where does it go from here? And the answer is apparently nowhere, because they have you booked to look absolutely pathetic when you deserve much better based on your in-ring work, your presentation, your strength, and potential alone. The potential is there given the right. The American gimmick works, and we were talking about this last night. It's weird to see an American gimmick done as a heel. It's almost ridiculous. Like, that used to be a babyface gimmick, but they have to make it a heel gimmick now. For what reason? I'll leave that to your imagination. Do I think Ivy Nile can be salvaged? Absolutely she can be salvaged, but they have to book her right. They have to take her out of this stable, put her on her own, give her a big sympathetic babyface push, nothing generic, something with some depth, some substance. That's why you have to break up the stable and do it in a big way. Break her away from the Creed brothers, make it impactful. She comes to a realization, something like that, something along those lines. I can't do this anymore. It's gotten me nowhere. You know, a big blow up with Chad Gable, and give her some wins, some meaningful wins on television, and lead it into a pay-per-view match and go from there. And the rest is up to her, but her microphone work needs to improve. But everything else, as far as physique, presentation, in-ring work goes, it is all top tier. It is all top tier. She's a smaller woman, but she's very fit, which gives her a big advantage over women like Dakota Kai and even Lyra Valkyria. Let me put it to you this way. I would trade all of Damage Control, and you can give me all 5 of the original members or whatever, Oscar, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky, Bailey, and Aunt Dakota. I'd trade all of them for one Ivy Nile, because you can do more with one of them than you can do with 5 of them, because 3 of them, their styles and their move sets are basically just carbon copies of one another, and Dakota Kai is completely useless, leaving you with Bailey, you know, and she's just boring. So, and you can say that about Ivy, but they haven't really given her a chance to actually shine, which I've went into in great depth. And that's it, folks. That's the end of the video. But I have rambled on long enough. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Ding the bell for notifications. Now is your turn. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think, folks. Am I way off base? Is Ivy Nile a star in the making? Is there potential there for her to even occupy a nice spot in the mid-card and to be able to get some shine there and maybe a little bit of, you know, payback for them burying her the way they have? Until next time, folks, I am Pete Daddy Dollar. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow. I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, it's always better to burn out than fade away.